Hey, Crusader back with you today. Very excited as we continue our journey through Spawn. We are in Spawn issue 2. That's right. So we're moving right along. We're not going to delay. We're going to be jumping right into it. So there's the opening cover, and here we go. So we have this guy here. We will learn his name later. It doesn't actually say it yet, but he calls himself the Violator. Now, you might recall at the end of the previous comic, we saw this very creepy looking horned monster demon looking thing. And and now we have this clown guy calling himself the Violator. So they don't look the same, but they are the same. That we could figure out very quickly because he calls himself that name. Anyway, so what we see going on here is he is going through this whole diatribe of explaining the terrible things he's going to do, and he's gonna cause some pain and some problems. And then there's a whole other page of doing the same thing, and he's acting kind of crazy. That's intentional. Uh, and then it ends on the third page where it says, "I'd hate to be Spawn," and that's when he shows up in the comic this time around. And he's thinking again about his wife. He's really hung up on her, which he should be. But we finally get a little bit of timeline here. He says, "I've got to go find her, let her know I'm back, I'm alive. People think I died 5 years ago. What's she going to think? Not going to matter much if I can't find her. Don't know where we lived or where we worked. The whole thing is completely nuts. I'm floating in limbo. 1 second, then bang, here I am alive, or so it seems. But other than her, all I remember is making a deal. One that included my soul." So we're still on this idea that Spawn made some sort of deal, it seems like, to go from death back to life. And he doesn't seem overly happy with that deal most of the time. So far, he seems to be complaining about it. Um, with what's been revealed to us so far, it's hard to know why that is, but something's not great. So obviously, the lack of memories would be the prime thing. And 5 years have passed. People's lives, are different after 5 years. And as he keeps reflecting on this, we can see right here where he says, "I don't know how it was done. At least I know why. It was for her. I wish I could remember her name. For 2 days, I've been trying to make some sense of this. No name, no money, no home. So I hid, hoping this was all just a dream. It's not. Whatever deal was made, I got screwed. He's playing with my memories, giving me bits and pieces at his leisure. It's all some kind of sick game to him. I fell right into his trap. He gave me power, life, but it cost me my soul, my identity. The scum even stole my face. Why would my wife want me again?" So you look at this, and he's reflecting on this deal he made. We still don't know who he made the deal with. And we don't know much about his wife yet, other than he's finally remembering that he has one. He's still trying to figure out who he is, I think, and what happened that caused him to die, and now to cause him to come back. And so then we have the Violator here. That's a pretty good image of him right there. So what happened is he went into one of the mob boss's buildings and he killed the mob boss, and then he killed the guy guarding the door. It's pretty ugly stuff, but this is a pretty good indication of who the Violator is and how he works. But we move into the next image here, and it goes back to Spawn, and he's saying, "I hope my new powers can help me find my wife." And why did I even get these powers? All I wanted was to see her, to hold my wife. Joke's on me. Why would she want to hold me when I look like a rotting corpse? So he's pretty upset about the situation. He's pretty mad about the deal. So Spawn he doesn't even know what his powers can do. And so he says, "All right, I guess I'll try to heal myself and bring my skin back." And this is what happens. He goes for it. He's got his power counter there. And he says, "Man, what a jolt. Feels good, strong, almost afraid to look." And then he realizes he's white. And that's not a problem other than the fact that he was a black man when he lived the first time. And so now he's very concerned. He's very confused. And he's very upset about what's going on. There's a quick cut off to the detectives who are trying to figure out what's going on. There's another cut to the Violator killing somebody else. And then it goes back to Spawn dealing with his fallout from turning white. He's having a kind of a tantrum, if you will. And on the second page of it, he has a flashback about Jason Wynn, who was his boss, the one the president said would take care of you and be your mentor. And everything was going well until Spawn started, or Al Simmons, as he was as an operative for the government, started thinking a little bit more about what was going on. That maybe what he was doing wasn't good. It wasn't healthy. And so he decided he would push back just a little bit. And so this is kind of a clue that maybe this was the beginning of his end of his life, but we just don't know yet. Well, Spawn, as this new flashback comes to him, it causes him to collapse as it does every time so far in the first two issues. And he also wasted a lot of power. The counter goes down to 9432. So he spent a lot of power trying to heal himself, and it didn't really work the way he wanted it to. And he reverts back to that very scary looking face, it looks like. So he doesn't keep the white skin all the time. So very confusing. And while he collapses in the alley, the clown wakes him up, or Clown wakes him up. And they start having this conversation. The clown starts to threaten him, says, listen, you're going to listen to me or I'm going to tear your eyes out and whip your spinal cord. Like, anyway, he goes through this whole thing. Spawn starts walking away from him, and he says, you don't want to do that. And he says, have a heart. Kind of revealing that he's been the one killing all the guys and that they're getting ready to have a confrontation here. And so when it says that down there at the bottom, next issue, Spawn versus the True Violator. So it's a very exciting issue. I really enjoyed it. It really, I think, set the scene well for where we're headed. Spawn's starting to reveal a little bit more of his backstory. Well, he's revealing it to us as he learns about it himself. And so we're getting really into some interesting moments within the story. Obviously, the first few comics are always set in the storyline. With it not being a traditional superhero or villain, we're learning, a lot about what makes this guy tick. And right now, his drive is to be home with his wife and return to the life he knew before. But he's finding great concern in that due to how he looks. So how this all develops, we're going to find out. Until next time, it's been Crusader, and I am out.